So I've been thinking a lot lately about some of the movies and books and speeches and interviews and presentations that I've been listening to over the last couple of days. And one of the running themes that seems to show up in a lot of these things, just thinking from it, looking at a lot of the stuff I've been looking at with a Christian biblical overlay, is that for the topic for today is I want to talk about reasons why you must stay healthy, fit, and connected to the Father, fit for fight. Reasons why you must. It is essential. It behooves all of us to stay as fit and healthy and connected to the Father, ready and fit for fight, spiritual warfare as best as we can, given wherever we may find ourselves with respect to our journey, our walk, our momentary status as of now. And what has gotten me thinking about this, as I was talking about in the beginning, is that I was kind of going through some of the materials that I've been consuming over the last few weeks, and this running theme always seems to stick out at me, but I never seem to find my way to talk about it or kind of expound on some of these ideas. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to talk about spiritual warfare and why it's important that we keep our bodies, our souls, our spirits as fit and battle ready as we can. You know, we pursue and we live and we consume peace in all its various ways, but we are to always keep ourselves wrapped up and ready, wrapped up in the armor of God and ready for war should somebody ask for it or should somebody demand that we go to war. So we come in peace, but if you want war, you should be able to give it to them. No problem. So I just been thinking about this, and this thing's been running through my mind. I right now at this moment in my household, I got some sons, and we've been in this era of Marvel and DC pretty heavy. And to be honest, I'm so glad about it. I don't know what to do, to be honest, because I've been in the Disney stage for so long, the Nickelodeon stage for so long, that I was getting ready to jump off a building or something. That's what I felt like anyway. There's only so much backyardigans. There's only so much Disney animation. There's only so much Despicable Me and stuff like that a grown adult can take. You know what I'm saying? There's only so much Finding Nemo and Cars. There's only so many times I can watch those movies in a row. So I'm appreciative that we're in this stage of Marvel, and I get to kind of relive a lot of things through them. And I was a pretty big comic book geek growing up. So this whole genre that is now exploding, which does have some spiritual connections, believe it or not, if you do some research on it and look at a lot of the leading artists and producers and writers and people who come up with a lot of these characters and look at some of the background information on the interworkings and connections. The comic book world is not done by happenstance. The themes and things that the comic book world pushes is by design. And as Christians, we should be aware of this and knowledgeable about this so that we can speak to it. I often speak to my sons about whenever, we just don't watch it. I don't let them watch movies just to be watching them. I always try to set up a framework in their mind so that when they watch things that it automatically goes through a filter, it's automatically sifted so that they can understand, they can be entertained, but yet at the same time they can be aware and cognizant of the seeds that are seeking to infiltrate their hearts and their minds and come to fruition in their life in some way, shape, or form. So I'm constantly talking to them about a lot of this stuff. And number one, I was just, let me see. Oh, yeah. like I said, I've been thinking about this as far as spiritual warfare and why it's important that you remain healthy and fit. And like I said, I was talking about the Marvel and the DC, and then I was also going through my Audible audiobook library, and I was looking at some of the themes that has popped up over the uh, last couple of last year, a couple of months, and I'll just go through a few books that I've listened to. Because of my position, I have the availability, the opportunity to listen to a lot of books in a couple of days. So it's easy for me to like listen to a book in like a day or two or three, and easy for me to kind of digest some of the main ideas. If you keep going back and rehearsing it, a lot of the stuff sticks in. But I'll go through a few books that kind of got me thinking this way. The Unseen Realm by Michael Heiser, and this is a good book talking about the spiritual realm, the unseen realm that overlays and affects the world that we live in. And it's a Christian book, and it breaks down the unseen realm that is not often broken down to such an extent in our mainstream Christian churches. We have an idea about things, but when it comes to breaking down a lot of the words and verses surrounding the unseen realm and the spiritual dimension, and a lot of the nuances and organizations and how it's organized, and it's amazing what the scriptures talk about with this respect. And it just really, if you let the scriptures speak to you, it can open your eyes, and it helps you when it comes to getting knowledge, understanding, and it helps you when it comes to making wise decisions or common sense decisions that aren't so common anymore with your life, to help you remain safe and secure and on the battlefield of faith, enjoying everything that takes place there, enjoying the obstacles and the challenges and the circumstances that you go through, enjoying the ups and downs, living your life as a reality show, as I often talk about. The Unseen Realm, Superclass, the global power elite in the world they are making, by David Rothkopf. I read this book, and this book is a pretty good breakdown of the ruling global elite. And as you've heard me say, we often swing back between the pendulum of freedom and slavery, and this has been going on since Adam and Eve, and it's going to go on until the end, into the new age, or the transference into the real authentic new age, in which the King of Kings, the Lord of Hosts, shows up and breaks the veil and stops what our adversary, the enemy, is attempting to set up his version of the new order before the real version is placed in full effect and shows up on the screen, or shows up. So that's a pretty good book that breaks things down, and you can research for yourself who David Rothkopf is and why we would give his book much weight and much credit, and you might want to take a real look at it. And then another book that popped up was The Fourth Industrial Revolution, written by Klaus Schwab, who is the founder of, amongst other things, the World Economic Forum, which is a non-governmental NGO, non-governmental organization made up of movers and shakers all over the world who get together on a yearly basis and kind of discuss and decide and steer, influence the way world affairs are to go, which at an upper level may not really have a direct effect, but it will trickle down all the way down to me and you. That's the whole point of the global elite and A lot of the things that they say and do and influence is the whole point of them getting together so that they can steer the way things go. So you're to be, as a Christian, as one who is called out, you're to be sober minded and aware of this. And then don't forget the spiritual overlay, which I'm gonna go speak about some verses of our adversary, our opponent, who uses men and women as idols, as pawns, as chessboard pieces in this spiritual war, which is why it's important that you remain fit. I'm going to talk about, and if you hang around for a minute, I'm going to talk about 9 ways to be fit and maintain a level of fitness so that you can live a life of peace and joy and happiness, but yet ready and fit for fight should you be called to do so. And as I'm saying this, I'm reminded of Nehemiah when they went back to Jerusalem to rebuild the wall after being held captive in Babylon. And it got to a point to where there was a situation arising with those who in that region with other nations, that it got to a point that when they were rebuilding the wall, they had to do work with one hand, lay brick and all this with one hand. In the other hand, they were ready for war. So in our lives, we are to do work, fulfill our obligations, rest, and have fun, enjoy life, have adventure, enjoy our relationships, and maintain and keep and do all the things that the Father would have us to do. And included in that is that we're to be always ready for war. Should it more than likely it be spiritual war? We should be ready for spiritual war, wrapped up in our spiritual armor, like Superman having his suit on under his regular clothes. You should have your spiritual clothes, your spiritual armor on under your regular clothes daily. You'll find that in Ephesians 6. You'll find that breakdown. Should situations and circumstances be in of need of your services, you could pull it off. You can go in the phone booth and rip that sucker on and rip your clothes off and let that sucker shine through, and you go to work. Like, mama, daddy, we got to go to work. We got to put the suit on, go down in prayer. We got to do a little speaking the word. We got to do whatever we got to do to go to spiritual warfare, because the unseen realm does not sleep or slumber. So the battle is always raging. The battle is always raging. And some of the, just to give you a heads up, some of the things that I suggest, ideas, tactics, and strategies I suggest also come from a lot of books. And I'm getting this out as I speak because I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that I'm just not coming up with this stuff off the top of my head. I listened to Dr. Kellyanne's bone broth diet, talking about the importance of bone broth and using some of these old traditional foods as medicine. And then what else I've read lately? Let me see here. The Primal Blueprint, talking about some things. Sleep Smarter, 21 essential 21 essential something to sleep and how sleep affects us. Let me see. That's it for now. But so I'm putting all this together because I want to encourage you. I want to push and prompt and make sure that we put to the forefront of your mind how important it is that you really keep yourself fit in all areas of human endeavor. When I'm talking about fit, I'm talking about fit in body, meaning that your body is disease free, your body is functional, your body is you have full mobility, you're able to just be agile and able to If your car breaks down, you're able to walk a mile or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 with no problem to do what you got to do, to handle business. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? That you can wake up in the morning without aches and pains. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about fit body. That you can get it, that you're in shape, and that you are. It doesn't mean you're going to be perfect. It doesn't mean everybody's not supposed to be model thin. That's not how life works. But you can, no matter where you may find yourself on the scale or on the spectrum, you can be fit. I mean, there's fit Samoans. Anybody know about Samoans? Samoans are big people. So you could be large and you can be healthy, fit, and doing flips. I seen it. I seen big people do flips. I seen big people that can move fast and jump and outdo me. So, being fit doesn't always necessarily mean that you're model thin, or you know what I mean. So fit body, fit mind. When I talk about fit mind, I noticed that the term brain fog is thrown around, but it's in my experience that is real, and that people aren't thinking logically. A lot people are thinking confused, and they often have a haze about them. I know I experienced this before. I know this is something I noticed when I started cleaning up my diet, and I started like doing some basic principles. One of the things I noticed is that my thinking became sharper. I was able to recall faster. My verbal fluency became easier to do. I was able to sit down and actually focus, and my short-term memory increased. And it was just amazing the small things that really added up. And it was like somebody lifted up a curtain, or it was just like, it was like the real world became even more crystallized and even more saturated as far as color and HD experience. Let's put it that way. So I've heard others say this, and in my experience, if I've experienced it, doesn't mean that everybody has experienced it. There is scientific research on this in this area, but we won't go there right now because I'm just spending time going over principles and just going over doing a large paintbrush over a lot of the topics I talk about, and go into more detailed, more strategies and more tactics. Your mind, I'm talking about being fit emotionally, meaning that you have a heart that does not err or stay or dwell in the negative spectrum of things, meaning that you don't hold a continuous heart of unforgiveness, bitterness, anxiousness, worry, fear, doubt, some of these other, anger, hatred, jealousy, envy, that you don't keep these things in your heart. You may experience them, and you may let them flow through your heart, which is what is meant to happen. It's meant to flow through you. Should you experience whatever emotion you're experiencing, you cannot let it stay and let your heart stay in a position and chronically stays in a position, or becomes sick, and it becomes broken. It becomes fractured. It won't be resilient. It won't be in a state of peace. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about fit emotionally, that you're always able to bounce back, and it's resilient, and it comes to a state of shalom. It comes to a state of peace. It comes to a state of calmness, that in which you can assess in whatever situation you find yourself in, and do what you got to do as a man or a woman. Fit will. That means that you have the will to act. That means you have the courage to move. That means you have the guts to get things done. You have the guts to get the ball rolling, get things moving. That's what it takes in this earth, in this realm that we live in. It takes somebody with guts and courage, and that has no fear, or that may experience fear, but they have the courage to, in the face of fear, pursue whatever it is they want to pursue. That's what it means to have a fit, strong will. You gotta have some guts about you, have some spunk, some oomph about you. You know what I mean? And then fit spiritual walk, meaning that you're fit in your spiritual walk, meaning that you're not you're in this earthly world, you're in this reality, but yet you're experiencing a spiritual walk, and you're connected to your heavenly Father through His Son Jesus Christ by His Spirit. You're connected, meaning you're connected to the throne room, and you can hear His voice as you pray, you conversate, which means you conversate, and you know your purpose and your calling, and you do accordingly. That's what it means to have a good, solid spiritual walk. You're not disconnected. You're not full of doubt, or you're not full of untrust. You know, you're in alignment, and your heart. You have a heart after God's heart. That's what it means when I'm talking about your spiritual walk. And then fit community. You fellowship. One of the things that I've noticed over the years is that when you one of the things that makes you weak is when you stop fellowshipping, when you start intentionally going around other people who are thinking like you with respect to your spiritual walk. So birds of a feather flock together. You know, it's easy to teamwork makes the dream work. Many hands make light work. You know, when when you get around, what's the other one? Bad people corrupt good morals, something along those lines. So your community really makes it. The closest five friends, all have it. If you look at your closest five friends, that your salary is a summation of your closest five friends. Your salary. That's a study. So just talking about the power and influence of community, and that you want to make it a priority on who you actually commune. You come into unity with. So it's important that you fellowship. Today, a lot of people say, I'm spiritual, I don't need to go to church, I don't need to fellowship. The Bible says you need to. Neglect not coming together. Neglect not to assemble. Where there's two or three in my name, He's going to be there. It's where you find your strength. We're called to come and take a Sabbath, and we're called to assemble. That's what. If I'm not mistaken, what is it called? I was thinking about the word Sabbath, to rest, and then I was thinking about the back in Genesis, Moed. Yeah, when you look up the Sabbath is a festival of God, a feast of God, and when you look up the word feast, it's Moed in Leviticus. But when you go back to Genesis, it's Moed too, when he talks about the stars set up for seasons. And these are set appointments in which you're supposed to assemble and meet God. You need a community that's aware of all this, so you can stay strong and stay encouraged and inspired and fit for a fight. Nobody wants to go to war by themselves, by the way. So community, you want to be mindful about who you befriend and who you allow into your inner circle. Fit education means you want to take control of education. You want to take control of schooling. You want to take control of and be mindful and aware of what you allow to influence and train and discipline your behavior and how you think and how you feel, because that's going to determine your quality and level of life and where you go and how you live today. So you want to be fit, have a fit education. Self-defense. You want to be fit in self-defense. And I'm not just talking about physical self-defense. I'm talking about able to defend yourself in every manner. There's always somebody out there to get something, that's trying to get something from you. And in the Christian walk, in the Christian point of view, that someone is your adversary, and he influences others to do the same. And in regular life, there are just people who have given themselves over to just doing whatever they have to do to get by. And if it means taking something out of your house, taking something off your plate, taking something out of your wallet, doing whatever, they will. So you got to guard yourself. You got to be able to defend yourself. And then fit wallet. Just looking at we live in a society, a culture that's based on economics and based on money, currency. So you have to have a fit wallet to make things happen. If you ain't got no money, ain't nothing happening. Money gives you options. So you want to do whatever you have to do to keep that money flow, that cash flow going. It doesn't mean that you love money. It means you understand that money is a tool that is to be used in our world, our reality that we now live in our culture. So you got to be fit. You got to know how to leverage and use good debt. You got to know how to manage your cash flow. You got to know how to invest. So you got to keep your wallet fit. Nobody wants to go to war with the empty war chest. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to war. I'm not. If my war chest ain't fit and ready for battle, if my my pockets ain't fit and ready for just living regular life and having answers for regular life situations, life gets painful. So these are lessons that I'm learning. I have learned and I continue to learn that will help you along your way. I'm just talking about reasons you must stay healthy, fit, and connected to the Father. Let's go to Ephesians 6 and 12, which I often do. Ephesians 6 and 12. I'm not going to be before you long. I just went through 9 ways to be fit. 9 ways to be fit. Now I'm going to talk about reasons why you want to really look into and stay on these 9 ways of being fit, because you have a spiritual enemy who is influencing earthly enemies to do whatever they have to do to steal, kill, and destroy. Let's put it that way. Steal, kill, and destroy. Let's go to Ephesians 6. Let me 6 and 12. Just want to encourage you today. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore, let's go to verse 13. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand, verse 14. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. So the word of God is your sword. It's your offensive weapon. Praying always, communication with the head man, with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching. You got to keep your eyes open with all perseverance. That's your part. You pray to the Father, and then you keep your eyes open, because that lets you know what the next move is going to be and what you need to communicate about. And supplication for all the saints. So I just wanted to talk about that this world we live in is not, there's always spiritual warfare going on. Going back to the examples that I talked about with regard to comic books, the DC movies, Marvel movies that are out. Recently I was thinking about Wonder Woman, and just looking at how the god of war, Mars, was working in the spiritual realm to influence the earthly realm, to influence men to go to war. Another one in DC, Thanos serves as somebody who's working behind the scenes to bring about destruction of our world. So that's in the Marvel universe. So I was just thinking about these things, and a lot of things is going on behind the scenes that we're not really cognizant of fully, but we feel the impact of them, which means we have to always be on guard and be making decisions, not out of fear, but just making decisions it's like you're aware, and I don't know how to explain it. It's like in Proverbs when he talks about a good, a man, a man sees a train coming, he gets off the tracks. You get out of the way when you see trouble coming. It's no big deal. You don't have to be afraid about it. It's like, I see it a mile away. I see you. So let me just go ahead and make this decision that's going to put me in the best position for prosperity and to advance and to graduate and qualify to the next level of existence. So It's not. It's real simple. It's not that hard. You don't have to be scared about anything. But just be aware. So just looking at Ephesians 6:12, the spiritual warfare is always going. And then a couple of verses that I really hadn't. Well, let me go to Isaiah 14:12 real quick. I think we all know this one, but I always keep some of these verses in mind when I'm thinking about why I do what I do a lot of the times. Isaiah 14:12. Let me go there. Here I come. I'm coming. I'm coming. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For verse 13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. And what slowed me down was I'm trying to remember in heaven, if you look up the word in heaven means the Shema, which is higher ether. So this is talking about another dimension. This isn't just talking about like the sky, but this is talking about the realm of God, another realm. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation. Look at that. The mount of the congregation. The mountain. So it's talking about the mountain is in range of hills of congregation. Yeah. Wow. Moed. Meeting. This is a meeting place. Assembly. So this is a heavenly assembly. Wow. This is the same word that's used in Genesis I'm talking about with Moed. And then the Sabbath. Wow. That is an amazing connection. I'm just going off the top of my head, just thinking about things. You don't have to take all this to heart, but just listen as I'm thinking about this. And that the Sabbath is literally a step into the other dimension, and that it's meant as an appointment time for the congregation, the assembly of the heavenly assembly and the earthly assembly to meet with. It's an appointed time to meet with the creator of the universe. So the Sabbath is very important. Rest is very important. I will sit up also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So this is we have God saying, nah, you ain't gonna do it, bro. You getting sent down to Hades. You're the God of the dead now. You're the God of the subterranean. But I just wanted you to see what kind of enemy you're messing with, or who's out for your destruction. Just trying to give you a profile of this guy, this character. This could be character or characters. It depends. If you do some research, it depends on your viewpoint about things. But in any respect, just know that you have adversarial opponents who are against you and want to take you out. So this is why you must remain healthy, fit, and connected to the Father. Now I got a bunch, but I read those two. But let me go to Let me go to Galatians 5:20. Just talking about this earthly realm too. Galatians 5:20. Galatians 5:20. Here I go. Hold up. Let me go up to 18. No, let me go up to 17. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that you cannot do the things that you would. But if you be led by the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, and heresies. But I wanted to focus on witchcraft because when you look up that word, it means pharma. It comes from the Greek word pharmakia. And when you research that word, it means medication, pharmacy. That is by extension magic or sorcery or witchcraft. So there's a connection there, and that as part of sorcery, witchcraft, magic, medication, pharmacy is part of that, and it entails that, in that witchcraft is the use of witchcraft is when somebody seeks to exert their will over your will through spiritual connection. And not also by spiritual connection, but also by natural connection too, in that medication, potions, drugs, tonics, whatever you want to say, are used to make you submit and open and subdued for your will to be moved by another's will, unbeknownst to you. So that's witchcraft in a nutshell. So just think about the pharmacy industry. Think about the Food and Drug Administration, and look at how food. I was listening to a podcast today about sugar, and how sugar is more powerful than cocaine. It's the original super drug. And you could do some research on sugar. I'll probably talk about it here pretty soon once I really listen to the podcast. But I've done my research on sugar. And sugar, there's a lot to be said about it. But just knowing that it's more powerful than cocaine, more addictive. It's a drug, and that you do have withdrawal symptoms. It causes problems. It's crazy. So just talking about reasons you must stay healthy, fit, and connected to the Father, looking at this from a Christian perspective, and that you have an enemy, an opponent, an adversary who influences men to also follow suit, and just looking at some of the printouts, the manifestations in our pop culture of this, looking at movies and then books that explain it by accomplished and very high influential and very prominent movers and shakers, and then just bringing it down to a simple level of just looking at 9 ways that you can practically be fit in your life so that you can live a life of joy, gratitude, encouragement, a joy obsessed with pursuing your calling that the Father's placed in your life, a life in which you can live and put food on the table doing your career, a life in which you have good relationships and you're mentally stable, emotionally resilient, your will is full of courage, your body is fit, you are spiritually connected, you come into communication and unity with a tribe of people who believe and hold you accountable and help keep you strong and in the Lord. And then that you stay fit and self-educated, self-defense, and your wallet stays solid. Your money ain't funny. So this is Kevin over at jkevinjohnson.com. I think I'm going to cut it off right here. I only have like 6 minutes left, so I'm going to cut it off right here. Hopefully something was said today that added value to your life and that you got something out of it. This is J. Kevin Johnson over at jkevinjohnson.com. You can find me on, if you just Google that, you should be able to find me on Facebook, my website, YouTube. You can find me in a number of places on Tumblr, Twitter. I'm all over the place. So just say hello, connect with me, and let me know that you're out there. Love you all. May his face shine on you and give you peace and be gracious unto you.